What's up, guys? In this video I want to talk to you about a concept that I call killer instinct, and why it's important, I would argue, for you to cultivate this instinct or attribute intentionally, so that when you decide that you want to do something, anything, that you go after it, I guess with purpose. That sounds kind of corny, but that you go after it with the intent of actually making it happen. Okay, so in my, how did I even come up with this concept, right? I was thinking the other day, I've been writing a lot of articles about sales. Quick shout out to my blog, stuartoden.com, link in the description. Go read those articles, they're amazing. But I was thinking about this the other day because most of my sales experience comes from selling at kiosks in shopping malls, where, for those of you who somehow have not been to a mall in the past 20 or 30 years, basically what you do is you stand at the kiosk, you stop people who walk by, and you show them a product and get them to buy something, hopefully. So that's it. It's commission only, and if you are not actively looking for people to sell to and doing demonstrations and trying to close the deal, you're not going to make any money. And this is the type of job where you don't necessarily want to make money for the sake of making money. If you're not making money at this job, then you're having a bad day. And there is nothing worse, in my experience, than standing at the kiosk, I gotta sneeze, than standing at the kiosk and not selling anything and basically working for free. Excuse me. Okay, there's nothing worse than that. Kiosk sales, and really any type of sales in general, I would assume, you're either having an amazing day or you're having a terrible day. So the good thing about this is that it will naturally positively reinforce good habits and good activities, good behaviors that you do, because you'll be rewarded with sales. And it will naturally punish bad behaviors, because, like I said, if you have a bad day on the kiosk, then you're gonna have a bad day in general if you're not making any sales. It's gonna be awful. It's its own punishment and reward. So one thing that I've noticed that all good salespeople have in kiosk sales is they have this attribute called killer instinct. Okay, when you stop a customer, you're doing the demo, you are so focused on having them buy something, anything. You either want them to buy the set for $350, or the straightener for $200 or $150, or two straighteners for $220, or a straightener and serum and shampoo conditioner for $150. You go down and down and down, you make deals, and then if nothing else, right? If they don't want to spend any of that money, they don't have any money, they're broke, all their credit cards are getting declined, you at least get them for $20 for shampoo and conditioner. Why? Because you're so focused on getting what you want out of that interaction that you do not let up until you've gotten as much as you can from that person. Now, this is what I would call killer instinct. And in this specific example, it sounds a little bit predatory, right? Because it is a sales situation, these people aren't specifically looking for these things, and we stop them in the mall and maybe they don't want to buy, and then after 10-20 minutes of us talking to them, they feel bad and they think to themselves, okay, let me just give this person $20 so I can, go grocery shopping or whatever it is. That's that example. However, this is a conscious example of what killer instinct can create for you, because there were many days, especially me now, I'll use myself as an example, but I'm not the only one by any means. Lots of salespeople can go to a kiosk at the mall and generate $1,000, $1,500 in revenue in a day, just by virtue of their own, there's a car pulling up next to me, just by virtue of their own skill and sales ability. Okay, so it's so hard to concentrate with this car. Go away. Why are you watching me? This is the car. Leave me alone, bro. Anyway, that's what killer instinct is. This is a conscious example of what you can do if you consciously apply this. I don't know about you, but generating $1,000 a day in revenue just by existing and walking and talking, that sounds pretty good. Now, it doesn't have to be for making money. This brings me to my next point, which is that everybody already has this ability of killer instinct already. Every single one of you who's watching this has already executed this instinct. I guess if an instinct can be executed, you've already done this in some ways in your life. In fact, I would even say that everything that you have in your life, you have gained as a result of you applying this killer instinct without you even realizing it. One thing, I'll give you another example just of myself, because I don't know what your examples are. My example is when I was 22, I wanted to move to Israel and join the army. That was my plan, right? I knew nothing about Israel. I'd never been there, didn't speak Hebrew. I knew nothing about the army. I knew nothing about anything. I just knew in my mind, I was like, I'm going to move there, I'm going to join the army. So with that killer instinct, or powerful determination, we could call it, although I would say it's more than powerful determination. With that killer instinct, I did everything that I had to do in order to do that, right? One of the roadblocks, for example, and the reason that you want to cultivate this is because eventually, whatever you decide to do, it's most of the time not going to be smooth sailing, right? We're taught in school, oh, you can't make any mistakes, you have to get 100% on the test, you can't, they mark you with like a little red pen if you make a mistake, and we're so afraid of making mistakes that when we get into the real world, we think that we can't make any mistakes. We have to do everything perfectly the first time. But in the real world, it's not like that at all. In the real world, you're going to make mistakes. When I had a business in Australia, every single day that I went to work, there were problems. Customer wanted a refund. I had a problem with the mall. Some other customers come yelling at me for some reason. Some dad is angry that I sold his daughter something for $200, whatever it is, right? But the important thing is that when you have killer instinct, you continue to put one foot in front of the other and go after what you want, right? Taking the previous example of when I wanted to move to Israel, one of the things that you need to do in order to apply for citizenship is to get a letter from a rabbi stating that you're Jewish, right? That's for one of the reasons, it's one of the requirements, right? So the first rabbi that I went to, who was the rabbi that I knew the most closely, I guess. We were good friends. I'd go to his house for Shabbat dinner and all this stuff. I was like, listen, I need a letter from you saying that I'm Jewish so I can move to Israel. And he's like, okay, but I need you to prove to me that you're Jewish. This guy was really hardcore. And I was like, how do I do that? And he's like, well, I need to get some sort of document that says that you are. So what he asked for was something called a ketubah, which is a marriage certificate. It's like a Jewish marriage certificate, right? So I brought him, I went through like all this hassle. Like I told my mom, because they still didn't know that I was moving to Israel at this point. I was like, oh yeah, I need your ketubah for like a school project or something. So she gave me the ketubah, I brought it to the rabbi, and he's like, no, sorry, it's a reform ketubah. I don't recognize it. So I'm not gonna write you the letter. Like, I love you, you're amazing, you're a great guy and everything. I would love for you to move to Israel, but I can't do it because I'm not actually sure that you're Jewish, basically is what he said. So what did I do? I just went to another rabbi and I asked them, right? It sounds easy, right? It sounds simple, but some people face similar circumstances, maybe even you, also me, for sure. You face a similar circumstance where the first thing that you tried doesn't work. So you throw up your hands, you're like, oh my God, why didn't this work? This is so unfair. I can't believe it's so difficult. Why does it have to be so complicated? I quit, right? But the important thing, or the key to overcoming this, is when you adopt this mentality of killer instinct. And I encourage you, whenever you consciously make a decision to do something, that you say to yourself, or you write it down or something, you say, I'm going to approach whatever task this is with killer instinct. Just say it to yourself, right? Imagine you're a lion in the savannah, or you're a cheetah, or you're some other kind of predator out in the wild, and you're hunting for food. And if you've ever watched any nature shows, you know that when these animals go after a kill, they're not just like casually like, oh yeah, well maybe I'll get the meal, maybe I'll kill the animal and like eat, today for the next 3 days, or maybe not. No, they go after it, they look at it, they're focusing on it, and they make sure that they do everything that they can to actually do it, right? Sometimes, obviously the hunt is not successful every single time, but we happen to live in a world where we don't have to worry about food and shelter and stuff like that. So we essentially have a lot of free time to focus on these things. We essentially have a lot of free time to overcome whatever obstacle life throws at us, I guess, to get what it is that we want. So I would just encourage you to adopt this attitude of killer instinct. I wrote an article about it on my blog. I'll link to it in the description. Highly recommend that you go read it. Let me know what you think about it. Maybe leave me a comment on the blog. Leave me a comment here what you think about this. Before I end the video, I will say that it's not necessarily lack of killer instinct that slows people down. And I mentioned this in the last video that I made that's titled, Are You Even Trying? What in my experience slows most people down, and I know this was true for me, is that most people don't have a clear idea of what they want. They don't have a clear idea of what exactly it is that they must have happen. And as a result, they're not able to engage this killer instinct because they don't even really know what they're going to do, right? It's similar to like, okay, let's say you have a car that drives really fast, but you don't know where you're going. Okay, you drive really fast, but where are you going? You don't have a goal in mind. You know what I mean? Like if you need to go buy milk at the supermarket, you don't just leave your house and drive randomly and hope maybe you arrive at a supermarket in a completely random fashion after making turns left and right and going fast and slow. No, you decide in your mind, okay, I'm going to Whole Foods, I'm going to go get this type of milk. You go in, you get the milk, you pay for it, and that's it, you leave. You could make the argument that that is an act that it was executed with killer instinct, because no matter what, I mean, it's not a high priority task, of course, but no matter what, you knew you needed the milk, you went to the store, you went and got it, and not like there's a lot of stuff that would stop you from getting the milk, but let's say there's a traffic jam, or you made a wrong turn accidentally, or that Whole Foods was closed, or whatever it is, and you still really wanted the milk, you'd find a way to get it, okay? But very important, what you need to do is you need to define what it is before, and then you apply the killer instinct, okay? So hopefully that was helpful to you. If it was, let me know. And I actually really want to know, what is one experience that you have had where you have applied killer instinct, where you were super determined to get some sort of result, whatever it is, maybe even something that comes easily to you, that other people would look at you and they would scratch their heads and they would ask you, how do you do that? How are you so disciplined to do something like that? Can you teach me how to do it? And for you, you just think that it's normal because you have this attitude of killer instinct and you just go after it no matter what. Let me know, leave me a comment. Also, if you guys like this video, I encourage you to click that like button. Definitely helps me out. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you watch all my videos secretly, subscribe to the channel. I won't judge you. Nobody will judge you. You're in good company. Also, if you really like me, share this video on Facebook, on some other social media platform. Also, go check out my blog, stuartodom.com. Read the link, read the article about killer instinct. I will link to it in the description. Peace. Oh, also, really quick, I have an experimental new service that I'm rolling out. May be helpful to people, might not be. I'm doing 30-minute consultation or coaching sessions where you can ask me any question that you want about fitness and health, about sales, personal development, or you just want to get a second opinion about anything, your relationships, I don't know, whatever. Think of me as your $25 per half hour therapist. If that might be helpful to you, you like the way I think, or you just like me, or you just want to talk to me on the phone for 30 minutes, let me know. I'll put a link in the description. You can do that as well. Peace.